What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Main Event Podcast Show. I'm your host, Main Event Mike. It is the maestro, Russell Wayne, behind the curtain, pulling the strings. Say hello, Russell.
Hello, Russell.
Detroit Lions move to 3-1 on the season with a great victory over the Green Bay Slackers in Ford Field North, also known as Lambeau Field. On the road, Lions get a big division win. They stomp the Packers 34-20. It's a good day to be a Detroit Lions fan, Russ. What do you think?
It was a great beatdown day. I mean, I would have to say that the biggest thing that I took away from that was that it was a surprise. I don't think anybody said that in the world expected a beatdown like they got on Lambeau Field. I thought that Green Bay was tougher than that, honestly.
And they did, there were some ebbs and flows in the game. Momentum did shift for the Green Bay Packers in the second half, and they made a run at it, but the Lions were able to stave it off, mainly by the rookie Sam Laporta showing out and David Montgomery running tough between the tackles, killing clock, getting first downs, moving the chains. David Montgomery finished with 121 yards and 3 touchdowns, his first time ever beating the Green Bay Packers in his career. So definitely he was an MVP in the game for me. I thought the defensive line was outstanding. 4 guys across the line getting a sack. Lions finished officially with 5 sacks in the game to Jordan Love. What do you think about that D-line?
Oh, that D-line was fantastic. And as right here is I'm going to go ahead and pull up the PFF stats right here.
Ooh, a little sneak peek.
So let's look at some of these defenders, which what an amazing game all the way around when you're looking at these guys. So let's go with just our top 5 graded players, all of them grading over 80. So this is 5 amazing players. You got John Kaminsky was the best graded player at 84.9. Aleem McNeil coming in at number 2 at 83.0. Brian Branch at 82.5. Alex Anzalone at 81.1. And Aiden Hutchinson at 80.0. And let's get some honorable mentions because we have some 70s guys. So let's just go right down the list here. You have Isaiah Buggs coming in. Yes, the guy that was a healthy scratch for the first 3 weeks, 77.1. Romeo Okwara at 71. Cameron Sutton at 70.3.
Yeah, Jerry Jacobs, who's been the floor on this team on defense, really. He's been the not producing well in PFF stat-wise. It comes up with 2 picks. What was his PFF grade?
Jerry Jacobs graded out at a 67.3. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, really 65 and above is really good. Anything like 60 to 65 is like you're just above average.
To all our listeners who may not know, PFF is Pro Football Focus, and they measure and grade players every week on their performance game by game. And they use different factors. So like Alex Anzalone, for example, it was great to hear you mention his name in one of the top performers, because sometimes the PFF grade, it makes me wonder what they're using to grade him, because he'll have 11 tackles. Right. His PFF grade's below 65. So it really is. There's some gray area though, right?
Oh, for sure. Because when you look at somebody like from the outside, this is what PFF does really good is when you look at it from the outside, you go, oh, wow, Jerry Jacobs had 2 interceptions, so he must have had a great game, right? Well, they attacked they attacked him a lot in that game. They went after him a lot. He made some plays, but there were some plays that he didn't make, to missed a couple tackles here and there. So it all balances out. And I think that PFF gives you a rough guesstimate of what players had done, or maybe players that didn't put up quote unquote stats that you're used to.
Mhm. Detroit Lions rushed for 211 yards against the Green Bay Packers' supposedly vaunted defense. 211 yards, just like the Atlanta Falcons put up against them. We said David Montgomery with 121 yards. I think we got 40 yards out of Jahmyr Gibbs as well. And Khalif Raymond with a beautiful end around on a first down call. I just love that play. So gashed him 211 yards, run the ball,
Yeah.
able to stop the run. So this is what we always talk about, right, Russ? You got to be able
Yeah.
to run the ball and you got to be able to stop the run. And the Lions did that. They played a complete game. They played 2 good halves. They did get outscored by the Packers in the second half, but they took the Packers' best punch when the momentum swung, and they were resilient, and they finished them off when it mattered at the end. They were able to run the ball and kill the clock out. And kudos to Quay Walker for a horrible penalty, which kept a drive. It meant we had to take 3 points off the board and trade it out for 7. So thank you, Quay Walker, for that.
And that's a beautiful thing. And you do make it like they made a run, but this game was never really close, guys. It never got to a point. Maybe some of the fans in the third quarter were biting their nails a little bit, but the biggest thing and the biggest play that they had was a bogus play at the end of the third quarter where they were able to get a playoff that they for some reason allowed to count when the clock had hit triple zeros. That was the biggest play of the entire day for the Green Bay Packers. The defense really dominated this game. That score at 34 to 20, that doesn't even really tell the whole story of how much the Lions really dominated this game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There were a couple of moments where the PTSOL was creeping in, and I was thinking, "Oh boy, here we go." But you know what? Aaron Rodgers wasn't there. Aaron Rodgers was not there.
But you know what? I mean, when that PTSOL kicked in, the Kaminsky stops him on the goal line for the 2-point conversion, and then the offense goes right down the field and scores a touchdown and just closes the door right on him. Mm-hmm. So the PTSOL lasted all of 5 minutes yesterday, and now the PTSOL won't creep in anymore at the end of games because we have a team that has the ability to close games, and it feels good. It really does.
Post-traumatic, same old Lions.
It's good stuff, man.
We've seen them snatch defeat from the jaws of victory a few times. So, yeah, that's what that is.
Well, let's take a look at some of these grades from the offensive side.
Yeah,
here.
That's what I was just about to say. So I'm interested in Jared Goff's grade in PFF because he was a cool cucumber. He stood in there tall, took some hits, had a lot of zip on the ball. He made some nice throws. Did have a pick, of course, on the opening series, which led to 3 points for Green Bay to get on the board first. But what was Jared Goff looking at?
So Jared Goff was rated at a very respectable 72.9 is a total grade PFF. That's exactly where you want to be. It probably went down because of the interception that he threw right at the beginning, but honestly, he played a really clean game. Obviously, David Montgomery was one of the highest guys. He graded in at 80.2 rushing the football. Josh Reynolds was actually the highest graded player at an 82.2. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown at an 80. Graham Glasgow was the highest rated offensive lineman at 76. Frank Ragnow at 74. Penei Sewell at 72. And then and there were some honorable mentions, a bunch of guys in the 60s, but really an overall really good game according to PFF for a lot of players on the Detroit Lions offense.
Sam Laporta with a 54-yard touchdown, and I think he had eight catches on 9 targets. What did his PFF grade come out for Laporta?
Laporta graded out at a 66.1. And he did. He had he had some nice catches, but he did have a couple drops in the game where, I mean, they put Jared Goff put it right on his hands, could have extended an even more dominating performance at the time. So, and he missed a couple blocks.
He made a couple blocks too.
His run blocking grade was 60.9, which is fine. And in the past game, he had a 65, and then it was a 66 overall. So it was a really good game. Sam Laporta has been one of the best tight ends, top 5 tight end in the league, coming right out of the gate. What a great pick Sam Laporta is.
What a great game for the Detroit Lions to go in there and beat Green Bay for the 4th time in a row. The Green Bay Packers have not beaten the Lions now, as of the taping of this broadcast, 740 days ago since the Packers have beaten the Lions. Lions take sole possession of first place so far in this division, now 4 weeks in at 3-1. And they are holding the tiebreaker on the only team that looks competitive, and that will be the Green Bay Packers in this division. This is the Lions division to take, and this was a great win that we will remember for a long time. It was a wonderful time in the Lions den for the show, for the game. And I think it's time to put this one in the rear view and let's look ahead. Next up for the Detroit Lions, it's the Carolina Panthers, and we know what the Carolina Panthers did to the Detroit Lions last year. It was a dominating first half by Carolina, and I told you the other night, it reminded me the half that the Lions had on Thursday against the Packers. That reminded me of the way Carolina just came out and put it to us for the whole half. And just like in that game, we outscored Carolina in the second half. We outgained them in yardage, a lot like Green Bay. They outscored us in the second half, but they also were able to take our best punch and dominate us and win. And I believed, we said this in the offseason, this is a game that the players, I bet, circle as a revenge game. What do you think of that, Russ?
I think that they do. I think this is a revenge game because they got dominated on their strength. So the Detroit Lions went into Carolina last year and got steamrolled by their strength. Their strength was supposed to be, they're supposed to run people over. They had just won 3 in a row and they got humbled. They got humbled in that game. And then this year, they came in to try to get revenge against the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seattle Seahawks did it to them again. So I am sure that Dan Campbell is going to be like, we don't want to be low for this. So this is a great time right here to get the Carolina Panthers right after a big win. And Dan Campbell ain't going to let them forget, hey, we got too big for our britches the last time that we had a big road win against Kansas City Chiefs and we got punched in the mouth. We're not going to get punched in the mouth again. And then we're going to get the debut of one Jameson Williams for the 2023 season. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, Jameson Williams, news comes out yesterday that the NFL changed its policy on gambling punishment. And by proxy, Jameson Williams has served his gambling suspension now, suspended by 2 weeks by proxy of the new rule. Great news for Detroit Lions. You seem awfully confident that he's going to get in the game next Sunday. They do have 9 days now to work him in and see if they can get him on the field. We know that a roster spot isn't a problem with Scott Nelson going to the injured reserve. So I don't know how much they let him play. I mean, Dan Campbell's big on practice, man. You got to practice to be ready. Right. And I'm more excited to see Emmanuel Mosley on the other side of the ball, to tell you the truth. It'll be great if JMO gets in there. It would be wonderful. I mean, we weren't even expecting it until the Baltimore game. I love it. I love it. I hope he plays. I hope you're 100% right.
I think he is going to play, and I think it's a huge thing that's going to happen. And no, I don't think that they're going to go out there and give him 13 targets his first game in this season. I mean, luckily, the Detroit Lions are very deep at the pass catching and playmaking position. You got Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Josh Reynolds. I mean, really, this is going to be one hell of a chess piece for Ben Johnson to put in there, because how are you going to prepare for this? I think this is absolutely going to be a big game, and I think that he's going to make an impact in this very first game, and it's going to be because they're going to be trying to stop everybody else.
And the word out of Carolina is that Bryce Young's looking to play this weekend when the Minnesota Vikings come into Carolina. So, of course, Carolina Panthers 0-3. They're at home against Minnesota, who's also 0-3. One of these teams looking to get their first win. And I kind of hope I want Minnesota to lose, obviously, but I'm really pulling for Carolina to win this game, to get that first win so that when they come to Detroit, they're still not a starving man looking for a biscuit. You know what I mean? Right. A hungry animal is unpredictable. So let's throw them a biscuit, Minnesota, and let's feed this hungry animal so that they come into Ford Field. We can be the more energetic, the more hungry team, because the Lions want to start putting some distance between them and the other division opponents.
Yep. And I think that they can do that. I do 100% believe that the Lions will win this game. And I think that it may look a lot like this Green Bay Packers game, because they are not the same team that they were last year, and this kid is still learning. And the Lions, to me, have proven that they are a team that shouldn't get beat by the middle tier teams. I do believe they are an upper echelon team now, and this is a game they should win.
Absolutely. So we talked about it many times that the first 4 games of the Lions schedule this year was the toughest 4-game stretch of the season on the schedule. And they come out of it 3-1. I think the train's coming through and Carolina's on the tracks. And
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
the Detroit Lions are just going to let them have it. I think the Detroit Lions win by 10 plus. What do you think of that?
I agree with that 100%. I think it's 10 plus too.
Right. Whether it's Bryce Young, whether it's Andy Dalton, I don't think it's going to matter. Especially if this defense keeps playing the way they have. We're making teams one-dimensional. No team has rushed for 100 yards on this defense yet. And if Carolina is the first to do it, that'll give them the best shot to upset us. So same thing we always say, be able to run the ball, stop the run on the other side, and your chances of winning go up exponentially. So
all right,
Carolina
we're in agreement.
Panthers coming to Ford Field, and hopefully the Lions will be 4-1 the next time we talk, right? So let's talk about these predictions. And Russ, I just got to hand it to you. You are 3-0. You picked up right where you left off last year, where you went 13 of 18. Anybody who doesn't believe that the Swami here picked them 13 of 18, you can go over to our YouTube. It's at Main Event 365. That's MANE at Main Event 365. That's on YouTube. And you can go back into the archive and see every pick that Russell Wayne made last year and the 3 that he's made this year. He was 13 out of 18 last year. And so far in 2023, he's perfect. He is perfect at 3-0. Because last week, he was the only person on the planet to pick the Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was even given 9 points and said, oh, man, that's easy money. And I'm like, what, dude? Jacksonville? Are you kidding? And sure enough, not only did the 9 points hold up, the Texans win it. Kudos to you, my friend. You go for 3-0. What do you think of that?
Playoffs.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love picking these games. I got the feeling. Yeah.
Right on. I actually won as well, bringing my record to 2-1 because I'm a mere mortal. And I'm ready to put my lock pick in. I'm going to take this game. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars -3 against the Atlanta Falcons. This game's being played in London. It'll be kicking off at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So by lunchtime, I'll know if I'm a winner. I like this game. I like Jacksonville to beat Atlanta by more than 3 for a couple of reasons. Atlanta is reeling. They came out of the gate 2-0, and now they're coming back down to earth because the Lions just put a whooping on them. And do you see Atlanta going to London and going 3-1 against Jacksonville? No, I see them going to London and coming back 2-2. That's what sounds like reality to me. And when you consider that Jacksonville always plays good in London, in fact, they have a lot of fans in London. In fact, they are staying in London after the game because they play there the following week. A couple of years ago, there were some rumblings in Jacksonville. They were having some issues about building a new stadium. Currently, Jacksonville's playing like in Orlando in a college stadium. So there were rumblings that maybe if London did get a franchise, the Jacksonville Jaguars would be a potential suitor to fill that spot in London. So
Great.
there's a London-Jacksonville connection, and I don't think 3 points is enough to stop this Jacksonville team. Devin Lloyd won't be playing, but Jacksonville is frustrated right now. They were supposed to be a 10-win team this season. They faltered out of the gate. They could only put up 9 points against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think Atlanta's just in the way, and they need to get back on it. And they're going to play 2 games in London where they've been very successful. I can't see them losing the first game to Atlanta. So there it is. Jacksonville -3. That's the Main Event Mike lock pick of the week. What do you got, Swam?
If you think that you got a lock on how the Swami is picking all of these picks, I'm going to show you right now that you don't have a clue on how the Swami.
Can I guess which one you're going to take?
Sure. Go ahead.
I think you're going to take Washington +9 at Philly. Is that it?
No.
No.
Washington.
No.
Washington. I don't want to touch Washington. No,
Okay. Okay.
I'm looking at this Chargers game. I'm looking at the Chargers, and they're playing who?
They're playing the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're giving up 5 points. They are at home.
Oh, you miss it. And they're playing who? The Raiders. Yes, it's a division game. And division games should be close unless you're the Raiders. So since you're the Raiders and you're being the Raiders, I'm going to go ahead and lay those points right there. And I'm going to take the Chargers, and I'm going to say that they're going to cover those points and beat them by more than 5 points.
Okay, Justin Herbert and company. Mike Williams is out for the season.
Yep, and you're going to see the debut. I don't know if it's a debut, but Quentin Johnston. I think that we're going to see a connection right off the bat. They spent a first-round pick. He was considered widely the best wide receiver in the class. Let's find out.
Right, but Jordan Addison's looking pretty good. I mean, as of right now. But you're right. Quentin Johnson, that's a great call out. TCU first round draft pick gets this. I'm pretty sure this will be his first start as an NFL player. So they're pretty deep at receiver out there. But I like that pick. Austin Eckler's not going to play, and you're still laying points in a division game. This is not like you, sir.
It's not like me, but they're just not. They got a whole bunch of crap going wrong there with Devontae wanting to get out. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. They're just not a good team. And they just got right last week against the Minnesota Vikings. And they need these games. That's a tough division to be in. And
they started 0-2. So you're right. They're coming out firing. It's a good day to have Justin Herbert on my fantasy team. Okay. So thanks everybody for listening. Please go over to Facebook and follow our page. It's called Detroit Lions Villain Squad. Also like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Main Event 365. The Villain Squad is blowing up. And don't forget that every weekday morning at 11 a.m. It's NFC North Football Talk with Russell Wayne. I'm there just about every day, putting my 2 cents in as well. That's a great show. He gets great interaction there. 11 a.m. Eastern time, broadcasting live into Facebook. You can go to Detroit Lions Villain Squad and catch that at 11 a.m. Eastern, 5 days a week, weekdays. Also, don't forget, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's the NFC North Open Mic night, hosted by yours truly. It's a trash talk show where we run the Bears through the mud. So, for the maestro, Russell Wayne, I am Main Event Mike, saying God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
Keep it on the ground. Through the middle. There he goes again. Montgomery for 6.